Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and today we are going to do a axe crafting video and cover how to make with recombinators and a few other methods. So I recently made this axe and then this axe in Hardcore Souls Alpha, and a lot of people have been asking like, how did I make the axes and can you make a little tutorial on how to do so? Now, the first step is you just want to get item level 83 axes. Now, you do actually have some choice between base types. Courier Chopper is the most damage, but a lot of people don't like how slow they are. With the attack speed, they end up being like 128, etc. And obviously, this pair is really good with Intimidating Cry, because if you have crazy high attack speed, you're going to run out of exerted attacks. So a lot of people like Valax because it's sort of a bit faster, but it's still very high damage. You also get Maim, which makes things slower, because we're not using anything that makes Maim do more damage. I sort of just crafted on whatever, and whatever the axe landed on is what I would use. I didn't really have a crazy preference there. And I'm using a Courier Chopper, and with 22 attack speed, it feels fine. I think, however, a Courier Chopper with like 15 or something attack speed would feel pretty dire. So, I'm going to walk you through some of the steps you can take. Now, obviously, there are like easy ways to get started, like Fractured. If you are going to go with the Fractured, it's particularly good to have the percentage or the hybrid being fractured. So there are three modes. If we look here, I hold Alt, there's Dictators, which is hybrid. There's, in this case, Chosen, which is a veiled mod, but it with Merciless goes all the way up to 179%, and Flaring, which is the flat, and then you have attack speed. All of those are really important mods, and if you're going to have a fractured base, yeah, either the hybrid, so it's something like Dictator or Emperor, would be really good, or Merciless or Tyrannical. Even Cruel would make it pretty good ice. The reason you don't want Flaring is because it's not really at the same level. It's also a lot easier to roll. And you do have Deafening Contempts, which are pretty high. It's sort of like tier 2 flat. Have you always wanted to learn about programming, but you always get lost or bored along the way? Boot.dev is here to assist you in your programming learning journey. Their platform offers many different systems that will gamify your learning process with the goal of making you stick to it by introducing goals, quests, level ups, leaderboards, and much more. Even if you don't know the first thing about programming, you can learn Python and go from the start to finish on boot.dev. Keep in mind though, in order to actually learn something, you do need to write a lot of code and build real projects. A free membership gives you access to all the content, whereas interactive features like games, progress tracking, stuff like that will require a paid subscription. Don't worry though, boot.dev offers a 30-day no questions asked refund policy and a free demo of every course with full features, so you can actually fully try it before buying. So go to boot.dev and use code Zizaran, and you can get 25% off either your first year or your first month, depending on your choice. Link is in the description. First off, let's start with how I made these two axes. The steps here were to get Emperor and keep it blue. We don't regal. We want it to be the only prefix. And then you want to ideally get Flaring, and then you just recombinate those. You don't use the one where you select each. You just use the one that's like chance-based, the old recombinator method. And then you just do that until you eventually have flat and hybrid together. Now, depending on how safe you want to be, and I'm going to show the next steps in Path of Exile, there's a few different things you can do here. Let's say that you have this and you have some random suffix. Doesn't really matter, but you probably will have sometimes too. If you've done it correctly, you should not have three, because it's you're just recombinating two blue items, so you cannot have three suffixes. But either way, this is most likely what it'll look like, and you are going to need the benchcraft of prefixes cannot be changed, which is from Courage Trial. Now, once we have that, you have a few options. So the least safe option, we had Chaos Orb. That's what I did. And in this case, that would have been really bad, but this would not have been a brick. So now you would just unveil anything and you would do it again. And the problem now is you would have to clean suffixes first. You would do prefix cannot be changed. Boom. Then veil Chaos Orb. Now, actually, at this point, you would use a veiled Exalted Orb. So the safer method, which can't result in a break, because let's see if I can just do it a few times till it breaks, so I can show you what can happen. Failed suffix. Here's a brick outcome. So what the veiled chaos orb did now is it didn't change the existing prefixes, but it added a new one and the suffix hit a veil. Or sorry, yeah, the veil hit a suffix. So this is now kind of bricked, and you would actually need to annul. I got lucky there, but will you? Path of Exile actually comes with streamer RNG as well. So yeah. So that is an unsafe method of doing it. I did that both of mine, so I've been very lucky with access this season. So let's show you the safe method. So the safe method would now be to do prefix cannot be changed, scour so that you have no suffixes. And then now you do prefix cannot be changed at a veiled exalted orb. This drops from Katarina, and the good thing here is this will, no matter what, it'll always remove the prefixes cannot be changed, but the veiled can be either a prefix or a suffix, and it's just a 50-50. And then at this point, I think you're almost guaranteed, or literally guaranteed, that you get one of the fist mods. Whether you get blind or impale or bleed, I probably would have preferred bleed or impale. Blind's okay too. Like they're all good. But now you have these. Now there's a further step. Now you once again do prefix cannot be changed, and you have two options. You have the safe option and the less safe option. So you can do reforge speed, and this is guaranteed to hit attack speed, but at what tier is not guaranteed. So you're just hoping that it doesn't do something like this. Now you are kind of forced to stick with 30% attack speed because boom, well, actually I didn't completely break it, but there I did completely break it. Because there I had to annul and it removed all the fist damage. So the safe option, however, which is 20,000 yellow juice, which 2 hours of farming maybe, so it is worth it for your like endgame max. You just do this, and then you hit tier 3 or higher. Obviously, if you hit tier 1 or something, you are flying. It is just RNG. And obviously, if you want to reroll your attack speed, you can just do suffixes, or sorry, prefix cannot be changed, scour, because you can't do there's no speed modifier left to add, so you can't do that. You'd have to do it again. So it is 4 divines per try. And then all the yellow juice. So they can get expensive. I would recommend just hitting it on your first try like I did. That saves you a lot of currency and you don't want to like keep doing it. But yeah, as you can see, like it can take a long time to actually get high attack speed. I would settle for anything above tier 4. And then for the next step, you have a couple of different things you can do. Shaper Orb is surprisingly good with cannot roll attack mods. That's what I ended up doing. There are a few cool things you can get here. You can get Onslaught on Kill, which lets you the option of a different Anoint. You no longer need to have Hatchet Master. You can get Max Endurance Charges, which is, in my opinion, the best one. More tank, more damage, more better. Well, yeah, that one's pretty much the only brick on this one. Frenzy, which is really good damage. It's 4% more damage and more attack speed, so that's probably the best outcome. And probably does slightly beat out the Warlord Exalted Orb. We do also have the Elder right now, which can give you AoE. I like that a lot. Let's see. Actually, with Elder, you cannot roll attack mods. I don't think you can block anything here. And Elder has a lot of break outcomes, but Elder does also have a very, very, very big hybrid mod. But as you can see, it is incredibly rare. You can also get Culling. You can get Conversion, though, which is a brick. But it's worth mentioning. Yeah, no way I would ever do Elder. Warlord is the most popular one because that can hit fist damage. And I think it's up to 20% increased fist. It also comes with attack speed if you've killed recently, which is really good for mapping. I just didn't have a Warlord Exalted Orb, and I had a Shaper. And both Frenzy and Endurance are nicer than the other outcomes. But either way, these are generally the way that most people will craft their axes. Now, with recombinators, there is another method too, where you would get hybrid and flaring, and then pure mod and flaring, and then recombinate those two together. So you have to win a 33% chance 3 times in a row, which is pretty doable because it's not that crazy. If you have like 4,000 alterations, you have a pretty decent chance at axe. So, you know, best case scenario, you would end up with merciless, flaring, and hybrid. And then suffixes would be the same way. Other than that, what other methods do you have? Well, you have fossil crafting. Some people, if you have jagged fossils just lying around, just spamming jagged fossils is not the end of the world. Early on, you can get like a 600 DPSX pretty reliably with that. So I mean, it's something to consider. This one has Warlord, but I'll ignore that. Same with like Reforged Physical on your bench. Very, very often you'll see like racers throw some of that. Because like here already, this is if it didn't have the lightning, it would already be a usable axe, right? You would just do physical damage here and it would be a slow axe, but for slams that's okay. So now with this, you would just craft physical damage, and obviously for one Exalted Orb, this is already quite a good axe. I don't know if Path of Exile actually says. There. So this is already a 600 DPS axe. So let's say you got this in like Blood Aqueduct or tier 1 or 3 maps. This would obviously be quite usable all the way up to reds. So Reforged Physical early on, just decent. Same with using alterations and regals. I got my first axe doing that. I just had flaring, and then I think I had like tier 6 hybrid, something like that, and just crafted percentage fizz, and boom, that was my early game axe. So those are some of the options there. Essences with contempt as well. Obviously, the problem here is that you're not going to have a lot of contempt. But yeah, pretty doable. And in a pinch, obviously, you could throw a few chaos orbs on, but it's not really a reliable crafting method. Yeah, recombinators, however, obviously end up being the way to go. Either way, I hope the video helps you. Hopefully you get a really nice axe. I did this a few times just on stream, and then I was like, I'll just turn it into a video. But a few people did link me axes saying thanks for the tutorial already, so hopefully you guys like it. And yeah, let me know if you have some good axes. Thanks for watching. So if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.